I'm Abby and welcome to the Imaginarium. Today I'm going to be making a sculpture starting with this piece of plastic. It's a super interesting piece of plastic. I was drawn to all these different grooves, different little areas and crevices and shapes. I like this triangular kind of shape here. So what I'll be doing is I'll be taking this along with other materials and I want to make an imaginary synthesizer. So let's get started. Welcome to the voiceover. So I'm cutting out some cardboard so I can have a small piece that goes on the bottom so it's more of a solid object. And please, if you use an X-Acto, be careful. I wanted to make this piece a little more elevated so it's not super flat. So I've got some styrofoam balls I'm cutting in half and then I'm going to hot glue those on the bottom. So it gives this object a little bit of a lift, so we're not super flat on the ground. And then to cover this piece, you can use anything like paper mache, you can use foam clay, and here what I'm using is a 2-part epoxy clay. So I mix those two together and it creates an epoxy that's workable for a while, and then it will dry and be super hard on the outside and give us a really solid object. And then I'm using sculpting tools to get in there in all them crevices, all them little bits. The next day, it's dry, it's hardened, and check it out. A little bumpy, but we're gonna get to that. Then we go to the bin of weirdness, dude. So this is a bin of all these weird little things I keep and collect, because you never know when you might need something weird. Okay, look at that sponge, dude. That's an awesome sponge. Oh my gosh, Finding Nemo. More like Finding Psycho. So I decided to use these Pez dispensers. If you collect Pez dispensers, I'm so sorry. I'm about to be cutting these all up. I wanted to use the very colorful part of the Pez dispenser as keys, like on a keyboard, since I'm going for that look of a synthesizer. Check it out, I found a spring in there. So in all of these, I actually took the springs out. I didn't use them on this project, but I'm keeping the springs in the bin of weirdness so I can use them later. But these Pez dispensers had really bright colors. I thought they were super fun. And when you do something like this, I mean, just go for it. Find anything weird. You know, you can always paint on things. You can sculpt on things. You can turn one thing into something completely different. And so here I am. I'm placing things around. And you know, this is the experiment and play process. You can see what might fit, what might not fit. Okay, now we're sanding a little bit. We're not getting too crazy with the sanding. Just a little bit with the Dremel, just sanding some edges, nothing too crazy. I do like the look of it being handmade and more like, kind of like claymation looking. I really like that look. And if you see in the bottom left corner, there's my dog. That's Bandit. He's the best boy around, okay? Now, we're painting. We're getting some white on here, okay? We're getting a base coat. A base coat. Lots of paint. Nice. Getting the grooves. Getting the edges. Get some more paint. Okay, and now we actually restrung one of our guitars, so I used some of these guitar string pieces that I want to add to this piece, and I'm super gluing to these little half wooden circle beads. Okay, now we're painting. Man, we're just running through this thing. Okay, speedy. We've got blue, and then we've got orange, and then we got pink. Okay, and we're getting it. We're getting it. This is the part where, you know, you're just playing around. You can do anything. You can paint anything. We're getting some bright green in there. I really like the bright green. It's like this really nice pop on the edges here. And these grooves kind of remind me of like a speaker. So that really works out for this being a synthesizer. And then we're getting around this edge to really highlight it and make it pop. The next thing I'm doing this pattern that I've done on some other pieces. It's kind of like a squiggly, almost like a cow pattern. This is one thing I've done, and I think it's becoming part of my visual language at this point. So your visual language is when you really start making work all for yourself and you're not trying to make work to impress anyone else. You start to get a visual language of things that you like to incorporate. And those things can flow from one piece to the next. And maybe you switch it up. Who knows? It's really all up to interpretation and what you feel like you're vibing with at the time, you know? But this is very squiggly cow. Is that the official name? Squiggly cow? Let me know if that's a good name. Who knows? And this black paint is really, really awesome. It's really shiny and really opaque. Now we're doing some yellow on the bottom. It's a nice little pop of color. You might not see it, but it's kind of a fun surprise on the bottom. It's like a bright sunshine down there. Super, super bright. And then what we're doing is we're getting along the edge. I wanted to bring that yellow up a little bit. I didn't want it to hide just at the bottom. So that kind of gives you yellow where you can be like, hey, what's underneath there? So here we are. We're painting these little half circles black as our feet. And then I started painting this silver and I was like, dude, this is not working at all. So here we are spray painting it with a mirror-like spray paint. And then here I am gluing these little pieces that were guitar strings. And we're just trying to get it as even as possible. Nothing too crazy. We're not getting too serious. And then at the bottom, I decided to make a little rainbow out of these colorful wires. This was an idea I didn't have in the beginning, and it was actually an idea that during the process I came up with. So, you can have a basis of an idea, but, keep your mind open to whatever else might flow through as you're working on something. It's all just part of the process. When you're making something, it might shift in a different direction. Who knows? It can be a little scary, but it's super fun. And then I'm placing these pieces in. I made some little notches. And now we have our pez dispensers. On the back, we're making this silver tube. We're going to glue it on there. And in my imagination, this is kind of like where the electricity runs. Like electricity's running through here. And then we're going to do some little knobs. So I'm going to do a blue knob to go on the back. Nice. Then I'm adding a little bit of acrylic. And then we've got some rainbow squares. These are always pretty fun. It's a nice little pop on anything. And then 2 little acrylic circles. Almost like little bolts and screws. And then we're going to apply this thing on the back. Hot glue. Get that little sucker back there. Check it out. Pretty sweet, right? This is our finished product. Is there things on here that are wonky? Yes. Do we care? No. Are there things on here that are crooked? Yeah. Do we care? No, we don't care. Because guess what? This thing was in my brain, and now it's in reality. It's out in the wild, dude. Okay? So if you have an idea, get it into the wild. It doesn't matter about being perfect or getting everything right. I mean, the point of creation is to get the things from your mind and from your heart out into reality. Get it into the wild for everyone else to enjoy also. Go forth. Create. Have an awesome day. Later.